Have you guys noticed the rise in cozy gaming? I feel like especially in the last few months, cozy games have been on the rise. Not only is the number of people talking about cozy games increasing at the moment, so are the number of games. Just look at the Nintendo Direct. I think nearly half of those games could technically be classed as cozy games. Normally I'd say you could never have too many farming sims, but that Direct came awfully close. And today we're going to dive into why not only do I think cozy gaming is on the rise, but also why I think cozy gaming may take over. But before I get into it, let's talk about today's sponsor, Skillshare. Skillshare is an online learning community with thousands of inspiring classes for anyone who loves learning and wants to explore their creativity and learn new skills. It allows you to invest in yourself and your personal growth, which is made even easier by the fact that it's ad-free so you can stay focused, and there's new classes added each week, so there's always something new to learn. This month, since I've had a little bit more time in my life, I finally decided it's time for me to learn how to cook, and not only cook good meals, but also healthy ones. I have never been particularly skilled in the kitchen. In fact, I was often known as a walking disaster in the kitchen. So I decided using Skillshare to get back to the basics of how to cook and how to cook well. This month, I've been particularly enjoying this class called Think Like a Chef, A Beginner's Guide to Cooking with Confidence by Kenny Monroe. It covers everything you need to know to begin your culinary journey, and it has finally taught me how to properly season food, because I hadn't been doing that before. The first 1,000 people to use my link in the description down below will get 1 free month to Skillshare. And thank you again for sponsoring the video. So the first thing I want to say about cozy gamers is yes, cozy gamers are in fact gamers. We don't gatekeep here. If you play a game, you are a gamer. It is that simple. And yes, that even includes your gran who plays Candy Crush on their phone. I feel like first of all, it's important to kind of define what a cozy game is. Despite doing nothing but cozy games on this channel, I'm not sure I've ever sat down and talked about what being a cozy game means to me. To me, a cozy game is one with minimal stress, a game I can play at my own pace, and something I can turn to as an escape when I'm stressed. This doesn't necessarily mean the game has to be overly cute or necessarily easy. It just overall needs to be a relaxing experience. Like for example, Breath of the Wild. There are some very stressful boss battles in that game, but the overall experience to me is cozy, because the game to me is all about uncovering the story through exploration. Whilst I think the surge in cozy gaming has mainly come in the last few months, I think the pandemic was the main turning point. When the world began to shut down, we found ourselves stuck inside. And the first few days weren't that bad. There was plenty of Netflix to watch, you had a ton of YouTube videos to catch up on, and there was a ton of banana bread that needed to be baked. Did anyone else have a banana bread phase, or was that just me? But as the days stuck inside turned to weeks, you found yourself having watched every single Tiger King episode, you've caught up on all the latest YouTube videos, and the shops had run out of banana bread ingredients. And we got bored. And for many of us, or at least for the first time in a while, we turned to gaming. And I, like many, was finding the world news exhausting. So the one thing I was looking for the most in a game was an escape. I didn't want some gripping story where the characters I fell in love with were constantly facing life or death situations. And if I'm being honest, especially during that time period, all I was looking for was a game to make me feel good, and to give me this small period of time where the biggest problem I had was if I collected enough wood, or which NPC I'm gonna marry first. Now, cozy games did exist way before the pandemic. A good example of this were the Harvest Moon games that were plenty popular and have been around since the SNES days. But if we're talking about the cause for the surge in cozy gaming right now, I think that comes down to Animal Crossing New Horizons. At least in the UK, Animal Crossing New Horizons came out 2 days before we entered into the first lockdown, and provided us all with exactly what we needed during the pandemic. And you can see that in the sale figures. Animal Crossing sold 32 million copies in the first year alone. For me, the reason I turned to this game was for a sense of routine. With my university shut, I saw no reason to go to bed at a reasonable time, and definitely no reason to get up at 1 either. But once I got Animal Crossing, I had to get out of bed before 12 PM to check on my turnip prices. I'd then send my turnip prices to a group chat filled with my friends from uni, where if someone had a great price, we'd all fly over with pocketfuls of turnips and sell them at their island. And even if the turnips weren't selling for a good price, every morning I'd do my Animal Crossing dailies, like watering my plants, cleaning up weeds, and talking to my villagers. And one of my favorite memories from this time period was when one of my friends had the first meteor shower any of us had experienced in Animal Crossing. So we all went over to their island and spent the entire evening on voice chat, wishing on stars and playing hide and seek. I truly mean it when I say Animal Crossing came out at a perfect time. I don't think I could have imagined that time period without the game. Even when I felt my most lonely, I had villagers I could go speak to in the game and feel a little bit less alone. And due to this being the perfect escape from reality, it introduced many into the world of casual gaming. You only have to ask around in the Animal Crossing community to realize how many people purely bought a Nintendo Switch just to play Animal Crossing. And now fast forward to November 4th, 2021. Nintendo announces a huge update coming to Animal Crossing New Horizons. And whilst they added a ton of new features, events, villagers, and even a paid DLC, they ended the entire thing by saying this is the last major update coming to the game. The update was amazing. Many people came back to the game who hadn't played in months to check out all the cool features. Like with many games that don't get updates, there'll come a time where the game is just not fun anymore, and you'll find yourself one day playing it for the last time. And now suddenly, all the people who had just bought a Nintendo Switch to play Animal Crossing suddenly had a Switch and no games they wanted to play. At the moment, a majority of the games coming out for us casual gamers seem to be indie developers, with a heavy focus on the Switch. Not only was it to target all the people who'd bought Animal Crossing, but right now you will struggle to find a more accessible route into gaming than the Switch Lite, as you can find a brand new one for less than £200. Also, Nintendo Switch games tend to be on the pricier side, so I feel like cheaper games tend to do quite well on the Nintendo Switch. And whilst we've definitely seen some outstanding, cozy indie games, I expect in the future we'll see more AAA games enter the market. I mean, just look at Coral Island Kickstarter. They raised over $1.2 million for their game. There's clearly a lot of money out there to be made in the casual and cozy gaming market. We're just waiting for the right game to come back into our lives. I personally feel that right now, especially in the farming sim genre, there is a desperate need for a game to come along and progress the category beyond the standard mechanics we've been seeing for decades. I personally think we need farming sims with AAA game standards. I want to see an incredible story that doesn't just revolve around my grandparent dying, and I also want to see a story that has proper cutscenes. I want an RPG-style detailed story coupled with owning a farm. And not to get all doom and gloomy, but right now, people are still looking for the same escape they were looking for in the beginning of 2020. World news is no easier to watch, and it seems like at the moment, every other month, we're living through another historical event. So cozy gaming as an escape will be going nowhere. But there's one more reason why I think cozy gaming is having such a surge in popularity. And I think that comes from the sense of belonging and community. But I think the term cozy games has let people finally find a name for their type of gaming content. The toxicity we often see in other gaming areas just doesn't seem as prevalent here. And many of the popular indie life sims I've played recently have a large consideration of diversity and representation from the get-go. It's not in an update that comes soon, it is in the game day one. And I just want to make it abundantly clear that games adding diversity, be that hairstyles, body types, pronouns, you name it, takes nothing away from everyone else's experience in the game. Inclusion is only ever a good thing. And the only thing inclusion and diversity does is make more people proud to call themselves a gamer. Right now, I feel like people are looking for an escape more than ever. And Cozy Games does exactly that by definition. And that's why I feel like the cozy gaming community is only going to get bigger. And as a result, I do genuinely feel like the cozy games we're going to be getting are also only going to get better. And next year, I think there will be so many AAA cozy games, we won't even know where to put our money. And by the way, if you want to see me rank every cozy game I played in September, click this video here. I'll see you next time. Bye.